Okay, just kind of checking the camera angle here. I've been fighting it today. And we shall, let's see here. We shall get started.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, conceal carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the War Room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Eccles.
And I am back once again into Saturday afternoon, and I am tucked away in the War Room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And you guys just get to hang out with me tonight. It's just me. No one else is here. Everyone else got busy, but I guess it is my podcast, so that's okay. I tell you what, I am doing this YouTube live. If you're on the YouTube, at least one person is. You can see that, but you can comment. I will not be able. I'm not going to try and type and talk at the same time. So I'll respond to any comments that you have. I'll respond to them via the microphone and not necessarily typing stuff in. But thanks for joining us, especially on the Saturday evening. It's good to be back here. I hope everyone had a great week. And I'm already kind of messing up here. I'm already kind of stumbling here. Let me get my notes out here. I will apologize too that there is a fan going in the War Room because it is hot in here. There is no AC. If I had an AC in here, you would never be able to hear me. I know you may hear the sound of the fan, but I can edit that out of the audio portion of the podcast. But those on YouTube Live, you're just going to have to deal with it because I'll melt if I don't run the fan. So a couple different things. I had got some main topics, and I got some little bit of news as always. I want to. First of all, I want to talk. I want to say I had a class the other day. I had a couple people come over that I know, and they were taking a class from me. And toward the end of the class, actually, we got done with everything, and the guy informed me. He goes, "Hey, have you ever used a flamethrower?" I was like, "Flamethrower? No, I have not. Why?" He goes, "Because I got one on my truck." He goes, "I bought a flamethrower." And I'd never used one before, so we got it out and we had a little fun with it. And we did take some video with it, but it did not turn out well at all. But yeah, I set a bunch of targets on fire. And I tell you what, if you ever be able to get your hands on a flamethrower, do it. They are a lot of fun. I think the one he actually bought cost about $700, is what I think he said. So I'm not sure that I'd buy one, but man, they are fun. And, what's cool about it, he said you don't need to be licensed or anything to actually get a flamethrower because they're listed as a tool. It didn't look like a tool, but it threw lots of flames and it threw a little fireball out. It was pretty impressive, man. I tell you what, those guys will be prepared if the zombies ever show up. I mean, I don't know why else you'd want one of those except for it's just freaking cool to have a flamethrower. He did give me the thumbs up and told me that I could actually borrow that thing whenever I want. So I'm kind of excited about that. But let's see, some new things going on with Patriot Defense. We've actually been a little slow, and I think it's just because people are getting out and doing things. And so it gave me time to kind of, catch up on some stuff and get some other stuff taken care of. But, YouTube is I think it's a pretty big deal still, right? I mean, you can still do gun stuff on YouTube. Maybe you aren't going to get paid for it, but you can still do it. And I was actually thinking, I've been talking about it for about a year about doing some YouTube videos. Just start off with some basic YouTube videos, doing, basic shooting fundamentals, safety, that kind of thing. Just kind of some short videos. And I was wondering if anyone would be interested in something like that. If I did that, if they'd be on YouTube, I guess, so they would be free, I guess, which is fine. But I'm still thinking about putting together. But I got a question for you. Does anyone have any experience with making YouTube videos? I mean, is this something that I know I can get a fancier camera and do it with, but if I don't have access to one of those, maybe the quality would be just a smidge different. But is this something I could do on my iPhone? I mean, I I've got a little tripod holder thing for the iPhone, and I got like an external mic for it. Is this something I could use my iPhone for? Does anyone know? I mean, could anyone answer that question for me? I mean, I know my YouTube channel is getting filled full of live podcasts, live videos, and I know that it's got the audio portions on there and not much else. I think there might be the video where I drug the high point around behind the four-wheeler and then shot it. I think that's one's on there, but I just thought I'd venture into YouTube. I mean, I'm a little late to the party like I am with pretty much everything else, but I thought I'd just kind of throw that. Let me set this here. My fan is blown away in my notes. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. If anyone has any idea how to make decent YouTube videos, maybe an iPhone is the way to go. I don't know. I mean, let me know. I don't want to invest a ton of money into it because I think with it being firearms, I don't know that it'll pay, but I would like to make some and throw them out there and see if people like them. Just got some questions. I'm uninformed on the realm of YouTube videos. Also, another idea that I've been throwing around is this idea of, maybe I brought it up, I don't know if I have, is this idea of making a Patreon account for the podcast. So if you aren't familiar with what a Patreon account is, I will explain to you what it is, and then I'll explain to you why I haven't done it. And maybe it's why I'm not a good businessman. I can teach people to shoot, but running a business, that's something else. But a Patreon account is something that I'd set up, and you could become a Patreon of the podcast. And, I could set up a price, something cheap. I mean, like, I think on some podcast accounts that, Patreon accounts that I've looked at, I mean, people are paying like $1 a month. I think you can get to a point where you can actually, I don't even have to set a price. I think I can just set it out there and you can pick a price and you can donate so much a month. I mean, I'm not sure how it works. I got to look into it more, but what that would provide you with is it would provide me some funds to keep doing some of this. And, if that iPhone camera didn't work, I could do a better iPhone or a better camera. I could get some better podcast equipment. But what the Patreon account would get you is, if you are a Patreon, I would maybe do other episodes or release something, right? You get something in return, more videos, you can get advanced episodes, something like that. Just kind of was wondering if that would be something that anyone would even be interested in. Now, I have a hard time asking to do that. I feel like I'm going to tell you all about what a Patreon account is, and then I'm going to try and talk you out of wanting to do it. But it's just me. I have a hard time doing stuff and then asking for money for it. But I mean, in all honesty, it's not, if I do it, it wouldn't be much. It's not like you're going to be paying me $100 a month or anything, right? And you could still get the everyday podcast. You just get extra content if you signed up for Patreon. But like I said, this isn't, I don't charge anything for this right now. And this isn't free. There's monthly subscription fees. There's equipment fees. There's all kinds of stuff that goes along with doing a podcast. It's it comes out of my own pocket right now. And that's fine. I'll probably keep doing it, but hey, a little help never hurt. So, I mean, if you find that you enjoy this and you find that there's some quality there and I did set up a Patreon and you wanted to join it, that'd be much appreciated. So, but I hate to ask for that. So I don't know, whatever. I may set it up. I may not. This is why this is what Todd gives away too much stuff for free, because I'm just a really nice guy and I like to help people. And I think sometimes it comes around and bites me a little bit, but anyhow, I'll jump off that soapbox. Just kind of something I wanted to mention. If you think I should set up a Patreon account, let me know. Let me know in the comments here. You can let me know on Facebook. You can send me a message. You can call me. You can text me. Area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. Or you can just go to Facebook, find Patriot Defense on Facebook, and you can just shoot me a message there. Just kind of throwing stuff around here, I need to get more on the social medias and I need to get better at some things. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. But anyhow, this episode is probably going to be a pretty short episode, but I had something that we talked about on the last podcast. Let me pull up my super duper phone here that I can't live without because I got all my notes in there. So I just posted a question, or I should have posted it 2 days ago, but I didn't. But I had some questions, and it always comes up in my concealed carry classes, and it was a pretty hot topic of conversation in my last concealed carry permit class. And I always talk about making a plan. All right, making a plan when you carry a firearm. Have a plan in place, and that could be a plan of like safety in your house, what's going to happen if someone kicks open your door, where your kid's at, who's going to call 911, who's going to have a firearm, are you going to clear the house? I mean, that's a plan, right? Another plan is, where do I carry? Are you going to carry strong side or right side, left side? You're going to carry appendix carry. And if you're going to carry on the right side, what's your plan? You're going to keep your hand free so you can access your firearm, hold your wife's hand on the left side, carry the baby carrier in your left hand. I mean, what's your plan, right? My plan is that I'm a strong side shooter. So I will keep my right hand free, carry those grocery bags in my left hand, do this, do that, kind of be prepared. But part of my plan as well is I carry with a round chamber, so a full loaded magazine in there. I rack the slide, I chamber around, and that's the way I carry my firearm. That's always been the way that I carry my firearm. And I do know that, there are quite a few people that actually don't do that. They don't feel comfortable with it. And there's a lot of reasons. And a lot of them raise their eyebrows a little bit when I say that I carry with a round chambered, and they just can't believe that I do that. And there's a few different reasons. And what I'd like to do is I always explain to everyone why I do and how to get used to it. But what I want to do is kind of go over some of the common arguments against common arguments against why someone does not want to carry around in the chamber. And then we'll kind of just talk about them as we go. I think I've got about five written down. So I know on Facebook page, everyone says carry with a round chamber. And I totally agree. And I want people to keep commenting there. You can also comment on this. I'm not monitoring Facebook at the moment. It's just a one-man show right now. But so, common argument number one is the gun may go off inadvertently. Okay, I understand that fear, right? You got a round chambered, you're afraid that gun may go off. Well, let's talk about this. Typically, that gun is not going to fire unless you depress that trigger. Mechanical functions, can cause them to fire without the manipulation of the trigger. That can happen very, very, very rarely. Now, most recently, there was a gun, I think it was a SIG, I believe. It would fire around if dropped in a certain way. Now, most of your firearms got to get certified through different drop tests, and they got to show that, hey, look, they're not going to fire. They're not going to do this. This gun specifically, if you dropped it in a certain way, it would go off. But I'm here to say that if you choose a quality firearm and you maintain it properly, right? Clean them more than once a year, you will, the risk of the gun just going off on its own is going to be greatly reduced, pretty much nearly to zero. Honestly, good quality firearm, they have to undergo so many tests and so much testing that you're going to be good. Now, additionally, if you're going to carry a firearm with a round chambered, you need to do so. In a good quality holster. Now, there's a couple characteristics of holsters, and I've been talking about holsters in a lot of my women's classes because we're drawing from a holster, and a lot of these women they've had to go out and they've had to buy holsters, and so we talk about what makes a good holster because I've seen a lot of bad holsters, and I'd rather teach someone to draw out of a decent holster. And honestly, a decent holster, I'm not saying you got to go buy a $200 Cadillac of a holster. I mean, I did. Was it worth it? Oh, probably not. They didn't even send me a freaking sticker. It's a nice holster. I like it, but I mean, it's probably cost a guy, $50 to make the stupid thing. If not less than that, right? $60. You go online, I'm not getting sponsored by any holster makers. You go online, you can find yourself a good, decent Kydex holster. That's what you want. You want Kydex. You don't want any of that cheap, injection molded plastic holsters. You want a good Kydex holster, one that is thermoformed around your firearm, right? The Kydex is heated up, your gun is placed in it, is input in some kind of press. More than likely, it's going to be a vacuum press, and it's going to form that hot Kydex around your gun. It's going to be allowed to cool. Then you're going to slip your gun out of that Kydex, and then they're going to attach it together and cut it and make it look all pretty and fancy, and your gun is going to slide in and out and pop into place and stay into place until you grab that firearm when you're drawing it and then draw it from the holster. And typically they have a little bit of like retention screws and stuff, so you can adjust the retention on it, the pressure on it that's holding that gun into place. So good quality holster. Good quality holster completely covers the trigger guard, okay? If that trigger is protected behind good quality Kydex, then that trigger is not going to get even touched, right? It's not going to get touched. And you can carry that gun around all day, and it's not going to be a problem. Now, you want to shy away from anything that's made out of like soft material, like nylon, or I would even venture to say I don't even like leather, to be honest with you. But nylon can wear out, and nylon can fold down there and get caught on the trigger. Nylon, if you push hard enough on your finger, even when your gun's in it, you can actually get to that trigger and press that trigger, and you do not want to do that. The Kydex protects that trigger, okay? Then you want to buy a holster that is specifically made and designed for your model of firearm. They have some of these holsters that's like one holster fits, 6 different firearms. We don't want that. Get one specifically made to your firearm, so it's fitted to your firearm. It's not going to bounce around in there. It's going to fit properly. It's going to protect the trigger. It's going to protect your gun, period, right? Don't go out and buy a $600, $700, $800 gun and then go buy a cheap $20 Uncle Mike's holster to put in it. That's like going out and buying like a Ferrari and then parking it into that little wooden garage that's been there since 1942 that's leaning to the one side and the roof leaks, right? I mean, that's just not, you wouldn't do that. You've already spent the money. You need to consider buying a firearm, a package deal with extra magazines, some defensive rounds, some practice rounds, and a holster, right? It can get kind of spendy, but you know that going into it. You want to stay away from leather. Leather can bend, leather can wear out, leather can get tucked in the trigger when you reholster. And it can be a whole. Sorry, I got an itch there. It can be a whole thing, right? It can be a safety thing. So you want to avoid that. You want to focus on knowing how to holster, reholster, draw your firearm correctly. There's ways to do it that are safe, right? When you are reholstering your gun, especially one where the chamber is loaded, right? Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire that gun. Okay. You don't want to enter that firearm into your holster when you're reholstering your gun with your finger on the trigger. Your finger is going to be if your finger is on the trigger, it hits that Kydex. When you press down, it's going to actuate that trigger and the gun's going to go bang. Another thing you really need to focus on is allowing strings, ties on sweatshirts and bits of clothing and stuff like that from catching in the trigger guard when you are trying to reholster that gun, especially if you're carrying IWB, which is in the waistband. Sometimes your shirt can get in the way. I tell everyone, keep your support hand away from excuse me. Keep your support hand away from that holster, right? You should never have to use your support hand to prop open the mouth of the holster or anything like that. If it's good Kydex, you can avoid that. And if you need to hold clothing out of the way, you use your support hand, you grab the clothing and you pull it away from the holster as you reholster that firearm. And that's going to be the safest way to do it. You want to reholster intentionally. You want to reholster slowly. You want to look the gun into the holster. Okay, if you're carrying with the round chambered, we do not want to mess with that trigger until we're ready to fire the gun. That is the key. Oh, I'm banging on everything. This right here, your finger, for those not watching, this is the ultimate safety. Okay, ultimate safety. All your firearms, so most modern semi-automatic handguns, especially the ones that are designed for concealed carry and especially self-defense, are they going to be equipped with internal safety? Safeties that you cannot see, trigger blocks and firing, all kinds of stuff, right? All kinds of stuff that do not get released, that do not come off until you're actually squeezing that trigger, okay? So there are lots of safeties in there. So you can rest assured that your gun is not going to go off by itself while it's in your holster, even if you have the trigger protected, okay? Now, I do understand, though, that, safeties can potentially fail. Safeties are mechanical devices. They can potentially fail. Get a good holster, protect the trigger, keep your finger off the trigger, and you're going to be fine. You really are. Typically, when someone shoots himself in the reholstering, it's not the gun's fault, ever. It's the person's fault. Clothing got in there. They didn't do it right. They tried to do it quick. I've actually seen, and I'm going to, no one is going to be able to see this if you're listening to the audio portion, but I've seen people reholster. Look at my finger gun here. Reholster and actually, this is their side. They actually are touching. They're touching their side all the way down like this, pointing the gun at their abdomen to find the holster when they reholster. Don't do that. It's a bad idea, right? You want to look the gun into the holster, watch it go into the holster. Make sure you do it right. Make sure you do it safe. Let's see, where was I at here? I kind of took some notes. I love my phone. I take all my notes on my phone. So now I gotta find my spot. So let me look here. It doesn't take that long to rack the slide. That is another argument for not carrying with a round chamber. It doesn't take that long to rack the slide. There's plenty of videos out there on YouTube that say otherwise, right? I mean, I get excited when I go duck hunting and I hunt with a 12 gauge pump shotgun, and it's probably just me. I get excited when a flock of ducks fly over, right? I jump up, take my first shot. I missed because that's what I do. I rack the slide again. I short stroke it. I jam the gun. The gun jams. My friends all laugh at me. Sorry, I keep rubbing my nose. Allergy season. My friends laugh at me, and I do that over a freaking flock of ducks, right? A flock of ducks, right? I get excited. My life is not at risk here. So imagine trying to do that under stress. When you are under stress, you lose stuff like, fine muscle movements. I mean, stuff is hard to do. Your blood is pumping to the parts of your body that need it. Your adrenaline is up, and there's a good chance you're going to short stroke that gun and it's going to jam up, and you're wasting time. And we all know that time is valuable. Time is valuable, right? Even though racking your slide to chamber round doesn't take a significant amount of time, sometimes it's just enough. Okay. And you want to save as much time as you can. So there's another scenario where having a round chambered, where you don't have to rack the slide it comes into play. So, I am a young grandpa now, very young grandpa. I've got 3 grandkids, my oldest being 3, the youngest being, I don't know, 1. Maybe just under 1. I'm not sure. But, he's in a carrier. If I am playing grandpa that day and I am in town and I am carrying him, I carry him on the left side. Do I really want to set the baby carrier down if I have to draw my gun so I can rack the slide? No, I don't. I want to swing that baby carrier around behind me, shield it, be able to draw my gun with my right hand and engage the threat, right? I want to engage the threat without having to set the baby carrier down, right? Maybe I want to shield my wife. Maybe I want to shield my 7-year-old. I do not want to let go of the hand. I do not want to set the baby carrier down. That's not what I want to do. I do not want to take time to rack the slide. There's too many things at play. There's too much stuff that may happen, right? Another thing. What if racking the slide typically takes 2 hands? I've seen videos where people rack it off a holster, they rack it off their shoe, they rack it off their jeans, and I would say that typically you would use that if like your other hand is you've been shot, you have to do a mag change. Maybe you can't use your other hand. I mean, I don't know what the story might be, but what if the altercation goes physical, right? What if the altercation goes physical and you're tied up with your left hand and you've got a gun in your right hand and you can't chamber around, right? You let the guy go with the left hand or let your guard down. He's going to get you. I mean, it'd be nice just to have a round already chambered, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, carrying with one in the chamber for a single action 1911 handgun. So there's a lot of people that like 1911s. I don't get it, but you do you, man. It is what it is, right? If you like 1911s and you can shoot them, that's fine. If you're okay with the less round count, that's fine. If you're okay with the idea that they may jam up every other shot sometimes, and that's totally up to you. If you're okay with the I don't know. It's not my thing. I just don't. I'd rather go with a good striker fired. That's just me, more rounds. But that's not what we're discussing today. That's another day. Let's see here. So carrying a single action semi-automatic 1911 type firearm, right, with a round in the chamber. So that means on a 1911, since it's single action, that means to carry it properly. you have a round in the chamber, you have the hammer cocked all the way back, and then you have the safety engaged. That is the only firearm that I would say needs a safety. Anything that's single action like that, you need a safety on it, right? Anything, I won't say 1911 is the only firearm that needs a safety. Anything that's going to be single action like that, you're going to carry cock lock ready to go. It needs a safety on it. So you carry that hammer, one in the chamber, hammer cocked back, and the safety on. That's the way it's supposed to be. It looks dangerous when you see someone carrying one, right? You go, oh my gosh, the hammer's back, and you know that hammer's back, and there's a round in the chamber, and you kind of freak out a little bit. These guns were designed to be carried with a round in the chamber, hammer cocked, and external safety engaged. That's the way they were meant to be, right? People have carried single action pistols for a very long time. If the practice weren't safe, they wouldn't still carry them that way. I mean, they wouldn't carry them loaded. Okay, so that's the way you're supposed to carry a 1911. If you carry a 1911 and you don't carry with a round chambered, are you really a 1911 guru? Are you really a fan of a 1911? Right? I mean, come on, guys. You carry a 1911 because what? History. It won world wars. It did this. It did that. Right? Carry them like your war heroes. I mean, if you're not, that's ridiculous. So we got to figure that part out. So number 4, I only carry loaded if I have a manual external safety. So, and that's the way some people are. And if that's you, that's you. But I'm going to argue against that. So many guns come with or without external safeties, right? It just depends on the shooter's preference. Sometimes you want a gun so bad you go in and you have an option, but that option that you want is not there, and you want the gun, so you buy it and it's got an external safety on it, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. You can train when you draw the gun to be able to kick that safety off, and that's what you should do. Draw the gun, kick the safety off. Sweep the safety off, right? Draw the gun, sweep the safety off. Draw the gun, sweep the safety off. In the middle of the draw, right? You can train for that. It's a muscle memory. It's a neural pathway development thing, right? You can definitely do it, and you can figure it out. If you carry a gun with an external safety, go for it. Do it, right? And if that makes you happy, that makes you happy. I guarantee you those guns are still going to have external safeties, though, right? The rules still apply. Keep your finger off the trigger. That gun will not go bang. I mean, that's just the way it is. You don't want to totally 100% rely on that external safety because, again, just like the internal safeties, it's a mechanical device. So if you like it, you like it. Now, here's the question. Well, I got a question. I'm going to throw the question out, and we'll get back to it, right? I had some comments on the Facebook page when I posted this question. Do you carry with a loaded chamber? If you do, tell me why. If you don't, tell me why. And I have got I don't know, it's like a conundrum. It's just a question. I'm just curious, right? If for example, you can have two of the same gun. One comes with an external safety, one does not. So if you're going to carry that gun and you have the one with the external safety, do you have to use that external safety? My thoughts and my recommendations is, without calling them the firearm manufacturer, is I'm going to carry it the way that the factory sent it to me. So if it's got a safety on it, I am definitely going to engage that external safety when I carry that gun with the round chamber, right? If I get the firearm and it doesn't have an external safety, then I'm not worried about it. But if the safety's there, I'm going to use it. Is that wrong? Excuse me. COVID. I'm just kidding. It's not COVID, I promise. Is that wrong? Is that right? Is that the way to do it? I don't know. My thoughts are, if it's got a safety, you learn to use the freaking safety. You learn how to sweep it off in the draw. That is me. Now, there was a person that carries I'm not going to call her out. I'm not calling her out because I don't know if it's right or wrong. She said that she carries, I believe she would have to confirm this, but I believe it's a EZ, right? 9mm EZ. Guess, Smith & Wesson 9mm EZ. Now I'm sure they have internal safeties, right? They have an external safety. You can get them with or without, but they also have a grip safety. All of them come with a grip safety. Grip safety being a safety on the back of the grip that when you have proper firing grip of that gun, you have pressed that safety with your hand if you're gripping the gun correctly, and that safety is disengaged and you are ready to fire the gun. Now, she says she carries the round chambered, but she keeps the manual safety off. She feels comfortable with the grip safety. She carries her other gun. She doesn't worry about it because it doesn't have any safeties. I mean, is that a good thing? She should be using the manual safety, the external manual safety. Frankly, honestly, I have no idea. I do not know. So that is one to think about it. So, so one of the safety rules, well, this is what it says. This is what I have written down. Is it a basic safety rule violation to carry with a round in the chamber, right? Okay. Keep the weapon unloaded. So the famous organization states, a lot of them do. Okay, there's a big one that we don't talk about them here. Well, we do, but it's not very nicely. They state, keep the weapon unloaded until ready to use. Keep the weapon unloaded until ready to use. Okay, so some people take that a little too far, right? So that's generally correct, but you don't want to just have a loaded gun laying around everywhere, right? You don't want to walk around with a loaded gun in your hand. You don't want to throw a loaded gun just not in a holster and throw it in your gun bag or leave it on your kitchen sink or your dining room table, right? So it's generally correct, but it doesn't apply to a gun being carried for self-defense. Again, if you're going to carry a firearm for self-defense, you have what? You have a decent holster. Now, your carry gun, the one that protects the trigger, your carry gun, in my mind, should be ready to use, right? You don't know, it's going to happen in seconds, right? You have no idea. You need to carry with a round in the chamber. I mean, that's my side of the coin here, and I'll tell you how to get comfortable doing that. So, a lot of people have troubles, right? They have troubles carrying it around in the chamber. It makes them feel uncomfortable. And I'm here to say this. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, why? Typically, I'm going to say that it's a training issue. But my question to you is why? Why does that make you feel uncomfortable? It's because you're breaking a safety rule? Well, you are, but you aren't. I've seen a lot of people think they're breaking safety rules as well when I tell them to fire 7 rounds. And they extend the firearm out there. They get the position, they get the stance, they line up their sights, they squeeze the trigger, bang, and then they immediately they keep the gun extended out there, but they go bang, and then they immediately take their finger off the trigger, set it on the side of the gun. They're following the safety rule. I'm telling them right now that gun is ready to use. You're going to fire 7 rounds, and then you're done. Now, if you fire 1 round and bring the gun back to you and set the gun on the table, well, we need to clear it, but you're going to take your finger off the trigger then. But when you're extending it out, so people take the safety rules, and they're very, very safe, but there's times when they don't come into play like that. So I'll back up. That was a rabbit trail. But if someone wants to learn how to carry a firearm and try to get comfortable carrying a firearm with a round chamber, do this. Okay. I don't suggest doing this in public per se, right? Do this at your house. If you got a couple days, you're at home, weekend, just an evening, whatever. Just take your gun, unload it. And put your holster on, take your gun, unload it. We're talking take the mag out, empty the chamber. Don't even put a magazine in it, right? Empty the gun, put the ammo in another room. Now you have a completely empty firearm. Unload it, okay? Now we all know how to dry fire. You dry fire, you squeeze the trigger, it goes click, that's the dry fire, and then you have to reset the trigger by racking the slide again. I want you to make sure that trigger the gun is cocked, the magazine is pulled back, that trigger is reset and is ready to go. You rack that slide, that trigger's reset. Then I want you to holster that firearm. I want you to put that firearm in your holster. Hopefully it's a good quality Kydex holster. And then I want you to walk around. Go mow the lawn. Go do whatever. Do your honeydew. Sit on the couch. Whatever it is you're doing that day. Do it for hours. Do it all day. And then at the end of the day, you have that unloaded gun. It's still in your holster. It's still on your person. You've done all kinds of stuff with it. I mean, go out and do burpees and push-ups if you want. I mean, run this thing through a bunch of tests, right? At the end of the day, I want you to go somewhere safe, right? We do need to obey some safety rules. We need to point the gun in a safe direction. Or you need to draw the firearm, point it in a safe direction. And then I want you to go ahead. We know the gun is unloaded, right? It didn't load itself. And then I want you to go ahead and put your finger on that trigger. And I want you to dry fire that gun. Now, if it clicks, what does that mean? That means that the gun didn't magically try and fire itself. That trigger wasn't depressed while it was in your holster all day. And that should help you get comfortable with it. If for some reason you've reset that trigger and you put it and you carry it in your holster and you carry it all day, and you take the gun out and that trigger doesn't click and for some reason it's not reset anymore, what does that mean? That means you've got a problem with your firearm. That means you've got a problem with your holster, and we need to switch some stuff up, right? But that almost guarantee you, it's not going to happen, right? That trigger is going to be right where you left it. It's not going to go bang. It's not going to go off. That's my suggestion, right? Takes some getting used to it. You've got to get comfortable with it. That's part of it, right? That's why I call it a training issue. You need to train yourself. You need to get the training to get a quality gun. You need to get the training to get a quality holster. And if you struggle with something, go talk to an instructor, right? Listen to this podcast. I'm an instructor. You got that information for free. It didn't cost you any money unless you join the Patreon that I haven't set up yet, but I might. Who knows? But work on it, right? Work on it. Be safe with it, right? And if you can't trust yourself, if it's a I can't keep my finger off the trigger issue, that's a safety rule in itself, right? You can't keep your finger off the trigger. You're afraid you're going to shoot yourself in the leg when you draw the gun. Then you need to not carry that firearm. I mean, if you're not going to be super safe with it, right? You need to not carry it, but you do carry it in the correct manner, which is round chambered. If you have a safety on. If you don't, round chambered. And in every situation, keep your finger off the trigger. And what? Every firearm, even if it's got a manual external safety, even if it's got a grip safety, even if it doesn't have an external manual safety, what? We carry in a quality Kydex holster. It's Kydex. I've had more people ask me how to spell that, by the way. So Kydex. Kydex. Kydex holster. That's what you want. Okay. Now let me pull this up here. You have to excuse me, all the throat clearing and stuff. Like I said, I went for a run today, so I was out in the mountains and out in the brush, and then I came home, mowed the lawn. Not a great combination if you have allergies, let me tell you. So I'm pulling this up here. Where's my notes? And we kind of already covered some of this. I kind of blended the two together without really realizing it because they kind of went together. But the question is, do I need a safety on my everyday carry handgun? I'm going to say you don't. Unless it's a single action 1911 or something like that comes with a safety that's required, like a 1911, to have a safety. I don't think you do. If it makes you feel extra safe, do it by all means. But you have to train with that, right? You have to train to get the safety off when you draw the firearm. Practice with it, train with it. They're all a little different. Most all your safeties on your handguns that I've seen are massive. They're big. It's not going to be a problem to sweep it off on the draw. Now, while you're drawing the gun, you've got to have some help, get some training, and figure out where the best spot is to kick that safety off, take that safety off, right? You don't want to come to the full extent, full arm extension, and then all of a sudden, click, safety comes off and you're ready to go. You want to actually be able to fire that gun mid-draw if you have to. So that safety needs to come off pretty quickly. And you need to keep your finger off the trigger, or the gun can go bang. That's all it boils down to, right? A manual external safety can be, qualify certain things. So it can be a lever switch safety. It can be a backstrap grip safety. It can be a trigger safety. Those triggers look like they have a little extra flap in the middle. That's your little trigger safety. So once you put your finger on that trigger correctly and you're in firing mode, you will fire that gun successfully. Trigger safety is there to keep that trigger from snagging on stuff, right? It's to help slow down the snag on stuff. But if you're drawing right, you won't snag that trigger. If you pay attention to what you're doing, you can avoid all this stuff. You will not snag your trigger. You will keep your finger off the trigger. You will have a good quality holster. I know I keep saying that, but it's really that simple. It is really that simple. So there's some other notes on here. Let me look here. I can't find them. Let's see. There was, let me look here. Let's see. Okay. So there was a video. I can't remember the video. It's a video of a guy that was drawing on a target. He was drawing his gun on a target. He was right up in front of the target and he was drawing his firearm. And he ended up drawing the gun. I'm not laughing, but he ended up drawing the gun. He ended up shooting himself. Like right in the foot or the leg or the knee or something like that. It was a mid-draw, right? And this is what he said. This guy, this video showed up on YouTube, and he posted about a year after his incident. He'd been thinking about this, and this is what he said. He said that if he had had a safety on his gun, that would not have happened, right? If he'd had a safety on his gun, that wouldn't have happened. Well, here's the thing. If you kept your finger off the freaking trigger, that wouldn't have happened. If you were safe with it, that wouldn't have happened. You broke a safety rule. That's on you. If you are nervous about your finger, that's a training issue. It's a basic safety rule. Keep your finger off the trigger. It's really that simple. It's really that easy. Practice. Now, let's get off this topic. Let's go back to... Real quick, we're not going to go back really, but we're going to talk about ammo. We haven't talked about ammo for a while. I still am getting people saying ammo's so hard to find. Ammo's so hard to find. You know what? I call bull crap on that. You can find it online now, people, and the price is way down. I can go online. It's not normal price, but I think it might be the new normal. You can buy a 50 round box of 9mm, literally $19, a little over $19 for 50 rounds. That's Target ammo. And there's multiple places online that you can find it. And they 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 rounds in stock. There's places I've been checking every day for the last month and a half, 2 months, and they've had ammo every time I've checked. Every single time I've checked. Now, are you finding it at your stores? Possibly not. From what I'm hearing, you're not. Go online, man. Go online and get it. It's there. I'm not trying to drive you away from small businesses, but if you want ammo, it's there. And for all those people that have bought a bunch of ammo and you're afraid to shoot it, you're afraid to use it, go out and practice a little. I'm not saying you got to go out and blow 1,000 rounds on the weekend, but get out and do something. 20 rounds, 50 rounds, take a class, do something, right? Those skills, they degrade over time. I've seen it. I just had a concealed carry class last weekend and I've seen it, right? People come in, they've shot all the time, but I used to shoot all the time. I know how to do this. I've been shooting for years, but maybe it's been a year since they've actually shot. It shows, man. It shows, right? You forget where to put your hands. You forget how to grip the gun, all that stuff. It shows. Get out and put some rounds down range. You really need to. We've been going on a little over a year now, that people quit shooting because ammo panic and the pandemic. And so I think we had the COVID pandemic, and then we had the ammo pandemic. That's what we had. And since the ammo pandemic started, people haven't been going out and shooting, man. It's time. It's time to get back out there again. It really is. We don't know what's coming. I don't want to get into the politics part of it here, right? I'll leave that for the Cajun Cowboy and his podcast. Let me look this up here. He's going to kill me. Where can you find his podcast? You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on iTunes, and you can look up. Oh man, he's going to be so mad at me. Look at this. Sorry, Cajun Cowboy. Where's it at? Why did I forget its name? You can look up Forgotten American podcast, right? If you want to hear all about politics and what's going on. But I think I would say they're probably trying for another lockdown, honestly, right? Go out and shoot a little, do some while you can, get out there, get it done. And what else? I talked about videos. This kind of a random thought popped in my head. Talk about making videos at the beginning of this video. So I know to make the basic safety videos. What kind of videos do people want to watch on YouTube? I mean, funny videos. We're looking for funny stuff. We're looking for how to draw, how to load a magazine, how to draw and fire the gun, basic safeties, grip fundamentals, stance, trigger press, all that stuff. I mean, I can obviously do those, but what are people looking for, right? I'm trying to expand my YouTube channel a little bit and get some more subscribers. I'm up to 114. It's pretty good, right? I'll take it. I'll take more. Share this with your family and friends, man. But let me know. I mean, what kind of videos you guys want me to make? You know how to get a hold of me. I mention it every week. I think I even throw it up in my show notes. You can call me. You can text me. Area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. Let me know if you got any thoughts or comments about anything. You can catch me on Facebook, message me there. I say, hey, I want to be on your show. Guess what? You got a phone. I got a phone. I got this fancy board. We can make it happen. We can get you. I don't care where you live. I've had people from New York on here, right? I mean, I've talked to all kinds of people. Let me know. We'll get you to call in. Let me know what you think of the, what is that? The Patreon. And let me know, you got any video ideas for me? What do you want to see, man? I can make goofy videos. I really can. I guess I don't mind making a fool out of myself. I can definitely do that. So, I mean, let me know. Until then, share this podcast, share the YouTube live video. You can find the audio version on YouTube live here as soon as I upload it, probably tomorrow sometime, maybe tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But you can find the podcast version on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere that you can find a podcast, you can find us. I sure appreciate everyone that listens. Like I said, again, share YouTube live. I'd love some more subscribers. That would be absolutely fantastic. I know it's Saturday. I didn't get any comments today, but it's Saturday. School's getting ready to start here in probably next month or so. People are busy. People are doing stuff. Get out, enjoy the weather, enjoy the hot weather if you live around here. Get out, enjoy it, spend the time with your families, and I'll be back. I'll be back next week sometime, and we'll do another one of these. Maybe I can wrangle up some of the other guys to get on here and do them with me, so you guys don't have to listen to me. Although I think I'm getting pretty good at doing these myself, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Anyhow, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Bye. Hey, the one person watching, I don't know who you are. I can't see who's watching unless they comment. So I appreciate you watching. As always, I appreciate the support. Share it with your family, share it with your friends. That would be absolutely fantastic. You have a good weekend, and I'm out of here. Bye.